Hello. In the Buddhist philosophy, there is a concept known as changing poison into medicine. And the um, deep explanation for this principle would be uh, something along the lines of earthly desires or earthly suffering are equal to or lead to um, happiness, benefit, enlightenment. And when we first hear this, we might say, well, how can that be? How can two things that appear to be opposite of each other actually be the same? And the purpose of this video is not to go into some in-depth explanation of this concept, but in a nutshell, you could sum it up by saying that when that earthly desires or suffering can enable us or lead us to uh, they can turn into a source of joy and become happiness for us when we don't allow that suffering to defeat us, but we use it, I guess you could say, as a springboard for growth that enables us to change and to become a stronger person. And by turning some kind of suffering into something that ends up being a source of joy. And that's, like I said, I'm not going to go into an in-depth explanation of that. But I would just wanted to share a story that I used to hear a lot back in my younger days when I first became involved with the Buddhist philosophy. And by the way, this video is not affiliated with any religious group or organization. It's just my own belief, my own interpretation as I remember it. And it has been quite a number of years since I heard the story, but I think it's an interesting story, and it's a good way, I think, it's an okay example, I guess, of the idea of changing poison into medicine by first changing ourselves, I guess you could say. And it's not a real story. It's like a fable, an allegory, I guess. Just it's a story that was told a lot to try to explain this concept or to encourage people when they do encounter some source of unhappiness in their life, what you might call poison. And so anyway, the story was about this young couple who got married, and like a lot of young couples, especially in today's world, they started out very happy. Things were just going along great, but as time went by, the challenges of life and just the way a lot of young people, or just anybody these days, things started, problems came up. And it turns out that the story is told from the viewpoint of the woman, the wife. And as I recall, her husband, I think he was in the military or something, and he had to go to do his job at the nearby base, or wherever it was he went to. He would leave the house every day to go do his job, and she stayed home. She was a housewife. And as she became more and more discontent, she just was very, very unhappy and decided that she didn't want to be married to this man anymore. But back in those days, it was just very difficult. People didn't just get divorced the way they do nowadays. And besides, she was a housewife. She didn't really have any training or skills to just leave him and go out on her own. So she started thinking, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with some kind of way to just get rid of him. And then if he dies, then I'll get his military money, and then I'll just be free and I can do what I want. I know it sounds kind of crazy and evil, but anyway, it's just a story. It's not real. So she started plotting and planning. Every day she would, uh, say goodbye, kiss her husband goodbye before he left out the door to go to work or do whatever he did in the base at the military. And she would then sit there and start thinking, now how can I get rid of him? Maybe I could poison him? Maybe. Anyway, you get the idea. And so this went on for quite some time. And she started, as time went on, he would go to leave the house in the morning, and she would start, kind of thinking, well, maybe he won't come home today because maybe he'll have a car accident or something, because I'm really putting it out there and praying every day, and I'm just asking the universe, I'm asking the powers that be out there to just get rid of him. I want him gone. And so she started kind of feeling sorry for him. Every morning when he would go out the door, she would give him a goodbye kiss and say, well, have a nice day, honey. But she thought, well, he might not come home today. This might be the last time I ever see him. So she actually started having a little bit, I guess you could say, compassion that, well, the poor man, he's not going to be around much longer. So maybe I'll make him a nice dinner when he comes home today, because he doesn't have long to live. And so she would, when he'd come home, she'd have a really nice dinner for him. Then the next morning he'd go out the door again, and before he left, she'd say, well, let me make him a nice breakfast as well, and give him an extra big hug goodbye. And I think you get the idea. She just started just trying to be extra nice to him, because she really believed that he wasn't going to be around much longer. And then she was surprised, after this went on for a little while, one day he came home from work, from the base or wherever he was, and he had some flowers for her. And she was really taken aback by this. Wow, how nice. He's been forever since he brought me flowers. And he just kind of told her, said, well, you've been so nice to me lately, and cooked me such a nice dinner every day, and when I come home, I see that you've been actually putting so much work into making the house look really nice and everything, and I just thought I might bring you some flowers, because I really appreciate all that extra work you're doing. And so then, as time went on, she actually started making even more effort to make the house really pleasant, and to actually went shopping and bought some nice clothes and makeup, because she really wanted to look nice for him, since he was bringing her flowers and just being so nice back to her. And I think you get the idea. As time went on, when he would go out the door in the morning, and she, instead of plotting for, or just waiting for, when's he going to die, she actually started thinking, well, I don't want him to die. He's been so nice, and I really don't want him to die. And so she started putting it out to the universe and praying every day, oh, please, don't let him die. I don't want him to die. I want to keep him around. I really do like him a lot. And so anyway, like I said, it's been a long time since I heard that story, and it was from olden times, so things like that probably wouldn't even happen today, as far as the man going to work every day and the woman staying home and cleaning house and doing all that stuff. But anyway, so the idea is that we can turn something that we initially look at as poison or a bad situation in our life, we can turn it into something that is a source of happiness and joy. But first, we have to undergo some kind of change within ourselves. So when we change poison into medicine, it's not like waving a magic wand and then, you know, uh, poof, like magic. It really does work in real life, because when we strive to change something that's making us unhappy, it ends up in actually our changing something within ourselves. And then that change within ourselves will be reflected in our environment by changing that bad thing into something that's good. Anyway, that wasn't the best explanation of changing poison into medicine, but maybe if someone hears it, it might be of some benefit. But anyway, thanks for watching.